Hi, everyone. Thank you all for the introduction and for being here. I wanted to start by acknowledging code as a language. For me, as a non-native English speaker, learning how to code was actually an experience not very different from learning the language which I speak to you in today. Coding has its own grammar. It can have slang and other idiomatic expressions. And although I could spend the whole afternoon here speaking about this topic, what happens when one learns how to speak code is that we become able to speak with machines. Speaking code allows us basically to understand algorithms better, to understand their biases, to see how they operate, their limitations. Because when we can code, we are able to better identify patterns, we are able to better recognize flaws, and generally be more critical towards this digital world that might still feel like a black box to a lot of us. At the School of Design, when we teach students how to code, we also have to think critically about how this code is being used and assume the responsibility of their outcomes. When we use code to generate visuals, like these series of prints, we try to bring scientific and artistic thinking together through design. This series of prints, generated by an algorithm that creates a grid of little dancing stars, showcases how the algorithm should not be the focal point. Instead, it's the hand and the mind of the designer. The designer chooses the size of the grid, the colors of the shapes, the outlines, and the dimension of the work. It's not about the code. It's about how we use it. Translating these algorithms into physical objects brings us closer to them. The vibrancy of the colors, the physical act of zooming in and zooming out, or even the joy of observing a robotic arm to produce typographic work. All of these brings the human experience closer to the machine. It will never be about what replaces what, but instead how we can find works of working together, to collaborate and understand each other, always with integrity and respect, because who knows if machines have already feelings too. What would the world look like if the digital was sometimes more analog and the analog was empowered by the digital? We're not really sure, but I guess it's time to find out. Thank you.